Hi friends, welcome back to another exciting episode on the Act of Becoming. If you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa Odu, your lovely host. And on this podcast, we share tips on things that takes us from who we are currently to who we intend to be. We share topics that bridges the gap in between who we are and the best version of ourselves. And this topic covers mindset, God, physical health, lifestyle, finances, career, education, self-development, self-discovery, and the list goes on and on. I'm your host on this wonderful journey, and that's not to say I've attained perfection, but it's to say I'm also on this journey with you, and I'm also inviting you to come on this journey with us and let us live like never before. Let us live out our lives and let us attain the highest version of ourselves through God's perspective. And once again, welcome to the Acts of Becoming, your journey, God's blueprint. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a question that is most asked. In fact, I have a personal conviction that this question has been asked by every single human being on earth. Yes. And what is this question? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? I mean, off the top of my head, I find myself asking this question to myself again and struggling to find an answer. What is my purpose? And that's not a problem. And if you have been asking yourself, am I on the right track? Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right things? Oh, look at all the people. They're doing this. I don't seem to be doing better. Maybe I don't have it in me. Well, today's episode is for you, it's for me, it's for all of us. So share this to someone you think needs to hear this at different phases in life, because I think these questions are questions we ask at different phases of our life repeatedly. So purpose is not as complicated as people make it, or as the society has come to make it. In today's conversation, we're going to be going through what a purpose is. How do you find your purpose? How do I uncover my purpose? How do faith and self-discovery go hand in hand? And I'm going to be using analogies, very basic analogies, to tell you that why it makes sense what I'm going to say into this conversation. So I hope you're seated, I hope you're here with your notepad, and let's get right into it. For the longest time in my existence, I know that sounds funny, I have always tried to figure out what is your purpose? What is my purpose? But one thing I've come to realize that your purpose is not a full piece, but it's a puzzle. You have to find this puzzle. You have to find this puzzle. You have to keep on finding a piece to the puzzle. And I listened to TikTok recently, and if I haven't told you this already, train your algorithm to help you become the best version of yourself. So I listened to this woman that says that God is in the detail. It may not make sense currently why you have to go through this and go through that to become this, but it's going to add up the piece by piece. I'm currently applying for something that requires me to share my experience, and I'm sharing experience on things that I thought were useless, on things that I thought that would not make sense to me. I'm discovering my purpose in pieces. And one thing my personal experience have taught me is that your purpose is not a document that you just go through it, that, oh, do this, do that, do this, do this, do that. No. It comes from intentionality, praying, seeking God's face, being courageous to take the step towards that direction that is in your heart, because only you know what is that thing that God has put in your heart. Recently, what drove me to share this topic is recently in my firm, we had a woman's discussion where a lot of people are like, I don't know what I'm doing, I feel stuck, I feel like I'm not where I'm meant to be. And guys, I personally, even though I know it's not true, I believe that no one has felt that way, as bad and as hard as I have. I feel so convinced that God intentionally put me through that suffering as I would like to call it, just so that he can push me out of my comfort zone. And that is what I find, that after that distress, after that panic, after that suffering, after that disturbance, you sleepless night, oh, what am I to do? You will find your way. You will find your way. You will find the solution, and that solution is going to take you a step towards your purpose. So if you're listening to this, even if you don't stay to the end, even if you don't take anything from this, but I want to tell you that only you, through God, knows your purpose in life. And how do you know this? It's when you find yourself in a place of comfort and your body is no longer content with that place. It automatically tells you that it's time for you to grow. It's time for you to outgrow. Imagine you plant a seed and the seed is growing and it's trying to push out from the soil. That is literally what happens to us. That's our human phase of germinating, because we are stuck in a space that no longer serves us, right? What do? We have to leave that space. We have to break out of that space. And breaking out is not an easy process. You don't just wake up one morning and you become a new person. It takes refining, it takes teaching, it takes discipline, it takes intentionality to discover your purpose. So finding your purpose is also not something that you need to sit and say, oh, I need to find my purpose today. I don't know how best to explain this, but your purpose, like I said earlier, is not a document. You don't just sit and say, oh, okay, this is my purpose, I'm going to work towards this and just focus on it. No, I don't know who gave us that idea that you just have a purpose and you work towards it. No, you live. In the process of living, you find things that align with you. You take moves, you take courage, you take courageous actions towards things that aligns with, that makes sense to you. And that's where you start to make sense of your purpose. You start to see yourself drift into a direction and you'll be like, oh, I feel fulfilled in this direction. Just like, I don't think I sat down one day and say, oh, I intend to sit in front of a camera and tell people, literally, what do I know? But it started like by sitting in my house. I find myself talking to myself. I find myself being the person that people come to and say, Teresa, what do you think? What do you think? What do you advise? What do you think? And you're like, Teresa, I get compliments both by the young, both by the old. And when I look at the younger ones, I'm like, if they have this information, if everyone is equipped, understands that this is how things truly are, maybe their life will be different. And the hope that what I'm doing today can change a life, can change a soul, is what keeps me going. And that does not mean I figured it out. This ain't paying my bills. It's not doing anything. It takes sacrifice because I work in consulting and and have a tight schedule. So doing this is taking out time from time that I would just use to scroll, relax, to pursue this. This is how I knew that definitely one of the things in my purpose is this. And I would like to preface this by saying, I feel like the only time you know your purpose is when you've fulfilled life, maybe on your deathbed, and you look back and be like, oh, and people around you are coming or telling you stories, or probably when you're dead and doing your burial, your funeral, you hear people say, oh, and it was them, like, oh, okay, so this was my purpose here on earth. But you'd never really have it figured out to the totality of it. So I've gotten so emotional and I've deviated from my scripts. So I'm going to go back into my scripts. Just before I go through what I've written in my script for you all, I would like to say that we have to unlearn the fact that I'm meant to be somewhere else. I'm not where I'm meant to be. I'm not where I want to be. Okay, you know you're not where you want to be because you set go to where you want to be. But how do you know that this is not where you are meant to be? We really can't say. Like, you only know where you want to be, but you're not the one that have the final say in your life. God has the final say in your life. And if you believe that Jesus has the will to your life, if you believe that in his beautiful time, he's going to make everything right, he's going to make everything perfect, then tell me why you think you are not where you're meant to be. Ever since I unlearned the fact that, oh, I'm not where I'm meant to be, and I start saying to myself, I'm where I'm meant to be, I'm at the right place at the right time, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. So what is purpose? Purpose is not just what you do, or it's not just what you know you should do. It's rather who you are becoming and how you impact others along the way. Personally, I like to think of it as an intersection between your gifts, your talents, and your faith. When I think of purpose, it reminds me of this verse in the Bible that says, in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, I know the thought I have for you. I know the plans I have for you. The thought of good and not of evil. The thoughts give you an expected end. And another verse, I think in Jeremiah as well, that said, before you were born, I knew you. Before you were conceived, I called you by your name. So it just comes to tell us that our purpose is not something we invent. It is something that is God's design. And our role in it is to align with it step by step. Now we're going to cleanse some myths on purpose, because there are a lot of myths going on when it comes to purpose, and one of them is purpose is a big goal. I feel like my intro was a summary of everything I'm going to talk about, and I've spoken about this earlier. Purpose is one big thing. I didn't know that I was carrying on this mindset when it comes to business even. Let me give you a quick story there. So I believe business, if you want to own a business, you just have to work well on this particular one business that you'll be known for and becomes a big shot. Then I read Naval, the Almanac of Naval. Oh well, he has millions of companies. Literally, you can be creating companies as a hobby. You can create a company, it fails, you create another company, it fails, you create another company until you find one that sticks with you, guys. And it just goes on to think that this mindset I had for business, that's why I had a ripple effect. You don't have to have one big thing, you don't have to have one big purpose. Purpose evolves through life. Business, like Danko, a podcast I listened to as well, he said the various pains, the various challenges you face in life are your businesses. That is where you're meant to look for solution. Tell people about how you were able to navigate that problem with your solution and sell the solution to people, because you're not helping other people. Never said find a way to give the society what the society wants without, but does not know how to do it, how to get it. The same way I'm saying that your purpose evolves around different seasons in your life. What you're called to do in your 20s is different from what you're called to do in your 50s. And literally, the Bible tells us, do not despise the time of our youth, because our youths are meant for a lot. But I admire a podcaster, Mel Robinson. Like, she's in her 50s and she does very well. And you cannot compare me to Mel. Imagine I compare myself to Mel, that, oh, Mel, she's so educated, she's so inspiring, she talks to you like a mother. Yes, because she's a mother. I'm not. She have experienced different phases in life. I'm just in my second phase, I'm in my 20s. And it got me thinking that this is one of the myths that I believe in, and I think you listening would have believed in, that you need to have one big purpose. Your purpose is not one big thing. It's, like I said, different pieces of a puzzle that at the end of the day, when you start putting them together, you start to see the big picture. And if I'm not mistaken, not until you're dead, but before you can even see the entire picture, because even down to your grey old age, you still have a purpose to do at that point. You are purposeful till you are done living. That's what I believe. So another myth I would like to address is your purpose have to be tied to your job. I wrote something down in my book that's I've tucked away, but if I can recall, it said that the best job to have is a job where your purpose, where you can align your purpose and your calling in Christ to generate income. And that's where I'm going to. That is what I'm working towards. And what I meant by that is, imagine your source of income is your calling and your passion. That way you end up going through life without working, literally just living or playing. Never say find something that you're good at, that to others is work and to you is play. For me, I want to have a career. Why? Because people from my background don't have the kind of career I have. It's not really what you associate us with. I'm so sorry to say this, but I feel bad when I hear it. But anytime I say, oh, I'm for this job, you say, oh, it's not people that are usually security, policemen, cleaners. No, I want to set an example for the young generation and say, we can actually be big people in the society. At the same time, I want to own a business because I want to be financially free, I want to be wealthy. And one way to be wealthy is not through your job, it's through owning your business. You can see that these two things are serving different purposes. I want to inspire people out there. I want to change the life of people out there, and I'm doing it through my podcast. These are different platforms, these are different outlets to reach. I reach my purpose. What my purpose is, I don't know yet. I'm yet to find out, but it's making sense because I can see the transition and the linking between each and every one of them. So I want you to know that your job does not have to be tied with your purpose. Third and final myth I'll be talking about before we move on is that purpose is instant clarity. No, purpose is not instant clarity. And I feel this is where what I said earlier about unlearning the need to have it all figured out now. You can't have it all figured out now because you don't know tomorrow, you only know today. So just figure out today, what can I do with who I am today, with what I have, with the platform I have, with my interest, with my hobby. You have to know today. Clarity is gradual. When you find your purpose, like I said, it's gradual, it's a step at a time. And I feel like even if you don't stay to the end, I feel like you're well equipped and I've changed your psyche on how to view purpose going on. So let's move on to one of my favorite analogy, the mall. So picture this. Life is a mall. You step into a mall and there are different stores, different sections, and each section, think of it as opportunities, experiences, passion, interest, whatever you can think of it as, right? Everyone goes into this mall called life, and everyone is drawn to different things and different interests. Some go to the tech, some goes to fashion, some go to art, some go to education, some go to different section in the mall, right? Good. Then picture this. I thought I love fashion. Then I go to the fashion mall and I don't feel alive. It still feels that something is missing. Then I was like, let me wander around, and I go into the bookstore and I feel alive. I love the smell of the book, and all of a sudden I feel at peace. Stay with me. You do not know what resonates with you until you step in and look around. And it takes courage to do that. So see life as a mall and take that step. Don't go into the wrong room and feel ashamed to go out. I'm like, well, I can't go out of this fashion. They'll think I was not competent. No, resist the urge to perform. Remember, you are trying to find your purpose in life. Find your purpose. Get that? So it's hard. I've been there. It's hard. But withdraw. Say, you know what? I'm going to check up the other store over there. Let me see what they're doing. And this may be like job transition, career transition. You're done with your BSc, your bachelor's degree, and you're thinking, well, I don't think your master's, do something else. You went to your BSc and you feel, no, school is not for me. Don't do your master's. You are in a line of job that does not serve you. Look for opportunities in the line you want to go to. Don't be tied to a box. Don't be going to the wrong direction just because you're scared of getting out from the wrong box. So that is the thing with purpose. Purpose is discovered through exploration, living. That's why I'm usually burdened with the fact that I'm not living. My bio in my personal TikTok says mission, to live, passionately live, so I inspire other people to do the same. I want to live, I want to take risks, I want to have an experience full of life. I want to do a lot of things, I want to be a lot of things. But I find myself struggling to do that yet. And that's not a bad thing, but I'm taking steps towards achieving this. And I'm calling you to do the same because that's purpose. Purpose is discovered through exploration, not waiting outside the mall, not waiting outside for life to call your name and say, oh, Teresa, you can come now. This is your purpose. Yes, this is the blueprint. You can now do this. After this, you do this. No. Not that. Purpose is you going into the mall rather than waiting outside. And do you know what clarity is? Clarity that we often tag as failure is leaving a store that does not fit you, that does not align or does not resonate with who you are. So that is clarity, not failure. Now, to my second analogies. I love analogies because I have heard a saying that said, if you cannot teach something to a child, you don't know it. So I believe analogies are the ways to bring it, make them relatable to myself and to others, so we understand this. So now we're done with the analogy of more. Now I want to go to the analogy of, do you know the game you're playing? What game are you playing? Literally, the game of life. What game are you playing? Do you even know the game you're playing? I know using game is extreme, but work with me. When I'm done, you would understand where I'm coming from. So think about games. If I ask you to list the number of games you know, the list will probably be endless. So people are playing chess, basketball, tennis, ludo, card game, charades, and these different games have what? Different rules. Just as we are different people with different purpose in life, right? And different upbringing and different background. Work with me. So now, some people are playing the corporate ladder game. We all go into the corporate job as graduates after school, right? Some people intend to make it partners, to become CEO of that firm. They're going to play a different game than me, that I'm just planning to save up and start my business. And I'm going to play a different game for someone that's just there to learn the skills, then to go and take over his family business. Look at how we are all in the same space but playing by different rules and different games. But what's the mistake here? The problem comes when you start comparing yourself with other people. Even when you're doing well technically for your own game, you mix up the game you're playing with games that other people are playing. And the truth is, you don't necessarily know people's end game, because most people don't even know their end games yet. Some people think, oh, I'll make it to the ladder, and along the line they find something else and they step out, right, and they leave. Good. You know yourself, you know your game, you know what you're playing as. Why don't you focus on yourself, so that you don't have the problem of comparing someone else's game with yours? So one thing I would like you to take away from this second analogy is that real freedom comes from asking yourself, comes when I ask myself, what game am I designed to play? What am I hoping to get out of this situation? Right? What rule energizes me? What rule touches me and brings out the best in me? And when I find the answer to that, regardless of what other people think, regardless of the fact that other people may think it's crazy, remember, they are playing their own game. You probably think it's crazy, but guess your own game would not be crazy to you. So stick to that and play the game you are designed to play. So this leads me to maybe probably one of my favorite points: actionable step. How do you actually begin to discover your purpose? I would say by now you should know the answer, but I don't like to leave things vague, and I'm going to spell it out. Right? So these are steps I believe would help me, or is helping me, and would help you discover your purpose as you go along this life journey. Start with God. I'm reading the book of Genesis. My plan to read the entire Bible all over again, and I'm starting from the book of Genesis, which makes sense. And I've kept a 16-day streak. And in chapter 15 of the book of Genesis, Abraham asked God, how will I know I will inherit this? Because in Genesis, God promised Abraham a lot of things. Abraham is the father of all nations. His descendants shall be like the sand. God promised Abraham a lot of things, right? But Abraham said, how will I know? And God asked for a sacrifice, which Abraham offered to him, and God told him everything, even up until how he's going to die and where he's going to be buried. So that leaves me without saying, the first step is ask God. God is not imaginary, he's real. This is my mic. I don't know why I'm using this. God is not imaginary, he's real. So ask him. Study his words so that your purpose will flow from his will. Because like Jesus prayed, not my will, but your will will be done. We are put on earth to live in accordance to God's will. That's like That's our main purpose on earth. That's our purpose, living according to God's will. But in what way would you achieve that is what I feel is different for different people. Because what I'm doing here is preaching and helping souls in accordance to God's will and drawing your attention back to God, because He is the author and finisher of our faith. God is the purpose, but we need to overcome our flesh, basically, because I feel like these are all problems of the flesh, to become who God wants us to be. The second step is to look inward. This is tricky, but I have a hack for you. If you have social media, post on your story, guys, what do you think are my strengths? Let's discuss. Just, or tell me. I'm doing this for a research purpose, because most times other people are the ones that are going to tell you more about who you are, really, because so that to avoid bias. But sometimes you really know who you are, something that comes natural to you. What are your strengths? What is something you enjoy doing? What is something that even if you're not in the mood, you're like very out of it lately, and someone just talks about that thing or say let's go and do that thing, your strength, you're like, oh, okay, I can make time, I can. So that is how you know. So you have to look inward, and this comes with self-awareness. You have to be aware of yourself. You have to know yourself. Thirdly, I'm sure maybe some of you already know what I'm going to say. Look outward. Where does the need of others align with my gifts, with my passion, with my interests? Because we are called into a life of service as Christians, as followers of Christ. We are called into a life of service. And I've read books that told you that happiness, I read the courage to be disliked, and it said happiness is when you contribute to others, your contribution to others. That is when you can be happy. When you believe you're giving yourself, when you believe you're giving service, you're of use to the community. And that's what the Bible says. Once you serve others, if you want, he who wants to lead, let him be willing to serve first. You have to serve. So you have to think, my gift, how does it align with the needs of other people? How can I meet other people? How can I help other people? That's what the Bible says. Love your neighbor as yourself. Because once you've loved yourself, you know how to love them the same way. And once they're thinking to love my neighbor as myself, they will love you the same way. And that's God's design, right? Purpose is service to others. That's something you have to know, not to self. So I think that's a very important point that I'm going to highlight here. So the fourth step would be take small actions. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. I feel like that's my favorite song to call me back from being overwhelmed to focus. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. The Lord's Prayer, give us our daily bread. The Bible said in Matthew, do not worry about tomorrow, what I will eat, what I will drink. It's called small step at a time. Clarity on your purpose comes by doing. What do I feel like doing today? How can I be better today? Or how can I help someone to be better today? Maybe I can sing. I would sing and make someone laugh. Maybe I can motivate someone. Maybe I can speak to someone's soul to change the person. Maybe I have the resources to give. Maybe I have the resources to teach. Clarity of one's purpose comes from doing, not by sitting and thinking, okay, from this I'm not doing this and this. Because once you start doing, you figure it out a step at a time, a day at a time. And like I always say, when you attempt to be 1% better today than you were yesterday, it doesn't have to be anything serious. How I do it, if yesterday I read 3 chapters of book, today I'm going to read 3.5, or 3 and 1 line and 1 paragraph. But no one can come and tell me that, oh, you're the same person you were yesterday. What do you mean? Yesterday I could only read 3 pages. Today I read 3 pages and 1 paragraph. So no, I'm not the same. And that's the attitude I have. That's the attitude I go through life. Yesterday I was able to say I'll give you something by 4 and give it to you by 3:30. Today I'll give it to you by 3:25. It doesn't have to be something significant or grand or big. It has to be something very little. Yesterday I woke up by 5. Today I want to wake up. Yesterday I woke up by 5, but I slept twice. Today I woke up by 5 and slept once. It's nothing grand. Because each step reviews the next, and it takes courage to move when you're not seeing the next step. So I want you to picture this. you're walking on a wheel, and each step, the next step comes when you're already on this step, and you're not even guaranteed that the next step will come. You just have to trust that the next step will come. So it's scary. It is. But trust me, the next step would never fail to come, because God is with you throughout the way. So to my last point, this is going to be embrace seasons. Embrace seasons. I feel like I have a lot to say about seasons. My life has been in seasons. I'm in my 20s, my mid-20s, and life has been a lot of seasons. I think I've done like 30 seasons in this 20 something years I've lived. I promise you, I feel like I've done like 30 seasons, because life is about different phases, different seasons. You have to learn to embrace them. I said something on my WhatsApp status that people reach out to me that I really enjoyed your status, I really enjoyed your voice note, and it's because something I'm convinced with. Learn to embrace your season. Don't compare who you are today with who you were yesterday. Even though our healthy competition is not between me and you, whether it's between who I am today and who I was yesterday, right? Because I strive to be better, but that doesn't mean I will compare who I am today to who I was yesterday, because who you were yesterday had not gone through the experience that made you who you are today. You have to embrace who you are today and be like, how do I become better tomorrow than I am today? And once you go to tomorrow, don't compare with who you were yesterday. Say, now I am tomorrow. How can I be better next tomorrow than I am today? And that is literally it. Embrace seasons. I feel like if I should talk about seasons, this is going to be very long, and I'm trying to restrict my podcast to be between 20 to 30 minutes. And I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. I really hope, if you have any questions, please put in the comment section. If you have any thoughts that will inspire me, because I need inspiration as well to keep on doing what I'm doing. If you have something to say that will inspire the listeners, inspire other people, please put it in the comment section. And to close from today, I would like to give you some journal prompts, some reflective journal prompts that would help you, that I have answered, that I believe would help you also and make things easier. And number one is, please bring out your notepad. Let's take this down. What comes naturally to me? What comes naturally to Teresa Odu? Playing. That is, I feel like that's one of the things that come naturally to me. As long as I can play with it, I'm good. Sports, work, as long as I can have fun, as long as I can play, I think I'm good. Whatever it is. What breaks my heart when I sit in the world? Me. When I see that young people are making decisions that they would have made better decisions if they were open to more information, I'm like, no, as long as it's in my power, if it's one person, I'm going to tell that you can do better than what you are doing currently. You can get better out of life than what you're settling for. It pains me when I see people settling, when I see people giving up, when I see people without hope, because what do you mean you're giving up? Life is beautiful. Life is good. You just have to look. You just have to fight for the life you want. You just have to take one step. You just have to be bold. And when I see young children being misled, I teach the children church, because I don't think I even trust any other person to teach them without me leading them astray. It pains me. It pains me. That's why one of the reasons why I have this podcast, because I want to change lives. I want to change lives with the words that I've spoken, with my experience, with the clarity that God has given to me, my understanding. I want to explain to you that this life, you can only get better. It can only get better. And once you start thinking, it can only get better, everything is working out for my good. I'm at the right place, the right time. No matter the situation, no matter how devil tries to shine in your face, it will not work. Odeshi, it's not going to work. Because trials will come. The Bible literally tells that you will go through the storm, but you shall not be drowned. You will go through it, or that means you'll be doing like this. You will probably be in the water. You almost want to choke. But guess what? You will not drown. Say you go through the fire, but it will not scorch you. You will not even perceive the smoke on your body. But you will go through it. You will enter the fire. Do you know what it is to enter the fire? Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Enter the fire and say, even if my Lord did not save me, I'm ready to die today. Enter fire that killed the people that pumped it. I'm sorry, I just brought in my Nigerian sense. Fire. Something's pinching me. Anyway, that's just to say that that's what pains me. I know if I should speak on this, I'm not going to have it. Everyone around me know. If you want me to talk, if I'm not talking, just say, Teresa, I will leave whatever off mood I'm in, and I'm ready to speak about it, or I'm ready to talk about the gaps in that place, in those areas. So financially we can be better, mentally we can be better, spiritually we can be better, personally we can be better. You can be finer than you are, you can be stronger than you are. Anything you want, you can achieve it. You are God. God literally say you are created in my image and in likeness. When they say you are the son of Dangote, you are the son of Bill Gates, do you know what that means? Do you know how you live? They say you're the son of God, you're the daughter of God. I'm sorry, I genuinely don't know. I feel like I'm not even past, I've not yet come to the understanding fully. But with the little I know, it's moving mountain. And the Bible literally tells us that if we have faith as little as a mustard seed, we can say to that mountain, move and be cast into the ocean, and to be done by our Father in heaven. That's on period. So with that being said, I hope you're able to take down the journal prompts. That'll be all. That's all the journal prompts I have for you today. Simple but short and very reflective. You can answer one a day. Don't feel, like I said, small steps. Don't feel the pressure. Don't feel pressure to want to answer all of it at once. And if you don't mind, you can leave them in your comment. You can leave your answers to this question in the comment section. We are a tribe, we are a community, we want to grow together, we want to go on this journey together. Do leave it in the comment section. I will go through them, and from there we'll pick it up. And as we wrap up for today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Proverbs 19 verse 21 says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevail. Your purpose, it's not lost. My purpose is not lost. I want you to say it out loud with me. My purpose is not lost. It is unfolding. As you walk daily with God, He would make your path clear. You would understand it better by and by. So do not be afraid to step into new stores, from the analogy, to focus on the game that God has assigned to you. Trust the process. Trust God. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Thank you for joining me in today's episode. It was very wonderful. It was very reflective even to me, myself. And like I would always say, remember that you are the main character in your story. Don't let someone else come to tell you how to live your life. Live your life to the fullest. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would really appreciate it. It will do us a lot of good as a community. If you can share, like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment. And with that, my friend, we've come to the end of today's episode. Bye, and see you next week.